And I believe that this is together a very important hearing, and I thank you and delighted to join you on this hearing. I want to acknowledge the presence of my members, Ms. Gabbard and Mr. O'Rourke, and acknowledge your members as well, and to welcome the Admiral Lee and Commissioner Allies, along with Director Caldwell and Captain Woodring, who did make a quick leave of Houston, Texas, and we were both able to be there yesterday, Madam Speaker, with the Vice President. And so I couldn't think of a better and more fitting next day for the captain. As I was driving in from Ellington Field, I could see the potency of your message, and one that I support, and that is the importance of maritime security as I pass one of the major #1 petrochemical corridors in the nation, and realize the connectedness to our port and the importance of security. I do want to, if I may have a moment, Madam Chairwoman, just to acknowledge Mr. Robert Harvey of our Greater Houston Partnership, who's willing to sit here and listen to this hearing partly, along with Bob Barakoff. I can assure you that they are strong supporters of border security as they are, and maritime security as they are, of immigration reform. I partly represent the Port of Houston and the former chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Transportation Security. And now on this committee, I've seen collectively, because the port has both rail, obviously, and water, and as I indicated, a long legacy with the petrochemical industry. I've long advocated for strengthening our maritime borders while facilitating legitimate maritime trade. I was pleased to have Vice President Biden and Secretary of Transportation Fox visit the Port of Houston yesterday. Their visit provided an opportunity to discuss the opening of the Panama Canal and the value of job creation from our nation's ports and related industries. I joined with the chairwoman in her acknowledgement of a matrix that should be created. My firsthand assessment, traveling on a speedboat out on the outer sides of the Panama Canal, and listening to Coast Guard representatives talk about the dangers that are posed by waters that are not supervised, and their impact on ports that necessarily need that security. The Vice President's visit provided an opportunity to discuss, as I indicated, jobs. Maritime trade is the heart of the economy in many communities across this country, including Houston. A few facts and figures about the Port of Houston. Its 52-mile channel opened in 1914. It is a home to 150 public and private companies, handles nearly 230 million tons of cargo annually, making it the #1 U.S. port in foreign waterborne tonnage. Mexico's top import and export trading partner. Therefore, it is busy, and the security is crucial. The Port of Houston had over $200 million in operating revenues last year, handling 42 tons of cargo, nearly 70% of the container cargo in the U.S. Gulf annually. As a result, the port generates over 650,000 jobs at its terminals. A terrorist or an unfortunate incident could be catastrophic, not only for the Port of Houston, but for the United States of America. This is an important topic on how do we develop the next steps for maritime security. With the nation's largest petrochemical complex supplying over 40% of the nation's base petrochemical manufacturing capacity, what happens at the Port of Houston affects the entire nation. The Port Commissioners and Port Authority staff are keenly aware of their role in ensuring that the port is secured appropriately. A few months ago, we joined Full Committee Chairman McCall at the port, and I'm very pleased to say they were the recipients, along with others, of US's grants dealing with increased security and increased equipment. We are fortunate to have the best emergency response assets and personnel available to Houston to protect this national asset, and the federal government's use of these monies in a responsible manner by distributing to ports like Houston have been enormously effective. We also recognize that we must continue to identify effective and efficient security solutions for our ports and for securing maritime borders. While much of the border security discussion in Congress today is focused on securing our land borders, securing our maritime borders is essential to any conversations focused on comprehensive border security. Although the Mumbai incident was not a port per se, having visited Mumbai and the site of the terrorist incident that occurred I can assure you that it was similar. The water area penetrated onto the land. When we discuss border security, whether we're talking about narcotics, undocumented aliens, or those who might wish to do us harm, we know that people will take the route they perceive to offer the best opportunity to enter the country. If we only secure our land borders, bad actors will exploit America's maritime borders and vice versa. We're only as strong as our weakest link, which is why it is imperative that we support the work of the Coast Guard, CBP's Office of Air and Marine, state and local law enforcement agencies. I would say that one of the necessities, Madam Chair, is an understanding of the matrix that can be created by the Coast Guard and funding of those extra assets and also their plan. I'd like to see a plan from the department, but I think the Coast Guard is going to be the most effective. Supporting these entities includes ensuring that they have the funds necessary to carry out their core functions. Given limited federal resources, agencies across the government should do everything possible to share information technology as appropriate, avoid duplication of efforts in order to secure our borders as effectively and efficiently as possible. Today, I hope to hear how Coast Guard is collaborating with Customs and Border Protection, Office of Air and Marine, to leverage personnel, assets, and information to enhance the maritime security. Among other things, I hope to hear from Admiral Lee and Assistant Commissioner Alley's about their joint efforts to operate the Guardian Maritime Unmanned Aerial System to increase awareness in the maritime domain, as well as Coast Guard's ongoing collaboration with the U.S. Navy to operate smaller USS's aboard its national security cutter fleet. I would like to hear from Mr. Caldwell about how we define and evaluate investments to ensure to secure our borders through personnel, technology, and resources so that we can ensure that our efforts are focused and streamlined toward a better managed maritime border. I'd like to also hear how you're working with those smaller technology companies and whether or not they can be effective in helping us. I look forward to the testimony of Captain Woodring, who currently serves as the Managing Director for Health, Safety, Security. We have known each other for a long period of time, outstanding representative of the U.S. Coast Guard for 27 years, and now committed to working with the Port of Houston, one of the largest ports, and of course has served us well in that position. The size of the Port of Houston, having 52 miles of chemical and petroleum facilities bordering 21 communities, represents a unique challenge. You can be assured they are certainly in the eye of those who want to do this nation harm. For these reasons and more, the Port of Houston is an excellent example of the need for best practices and the use of best practices. And for this hearing, Madam Chairwoman, I'm delighted to join you in it because I think this is the right step to be taking, is to ask real hard questions on maritime security. With that, Madam Chair, I yield back.